Serial killers have been notoriously known for their violent acts against humanity. Profiling has been a useful tool for investigative units in order to catch them. While there are many different methods to criminal profiling, the more popular method is criminal investigative analysis. The criminal investigative analysis method originated from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. One important part of the analysis is whether the serial killer falls under the category of organized, disorganized, or somewhere in the middle of both. During an investigation, one can usually tell if a serial killer is organized or not based off of how the crime scene is left. If the crime scene has little to no incriminating evidence, then this means that the serial killer is organized enough to have premeditated the murder and to think ahead in order to conceal the murder weapon. While the serial killer is very organized in his methods of killing, he is also organized in his life. He holds a job and has average to high intelligence. He is also very socially competent, and this allows him to not attract any suspicion. On the other hand, a disorganized offender will have a very reckless crime scene. By this means that they will have incriminating evidence, probably fingerprints, due to a very sporadic and unplanned murder. In a social aspect, the disorganized killer is very below average intelligence. This means that they hold jobs that require little skill, and they are also socially incompetent. This person cannot hold regular interactions with other individuals in society. Law enforcement should also be aware of the gray area between an organized and disorganized offender. For example, an offender could be organized in the way that they are highly social and intelligent, yet when actually executing a murder, something could have gone wrong. One example is Jeffrey Dahmer, who is known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. One night, Jeffrey Dahmer took a 13-year-old boy and had subdued him with drugs. While he was subdued with drugs, Jeffrey Dahmer stepped out to buy alcohol, and while he was out, the 13-year-old boy was conscious enough to escape the apartment of Dahmer and run onto the streets. The young boy was naked, and this led to a woman calling the police, and when the police came, they arrested Dahmer and were able to find incriminating evidence of over 83 murders. And this is what led to the downfall of the Milwaukee Cannibal. So while a serial killer is organized in their actual traits, it doesn't necessarily mean that the crime itself will be organized all the time. The next important part of the criminal investigative analysis method is the modus operandi, or the MO, that a serial killer has. This MO is basically a signature that happens every single time that this person kills. A signature is very important in determining what type of behavior the serial killer has, because it can always originate from something that has traumatized the serial killer themselves in the past. For example, abuse that has occurred in the childhood of the serial killer can come reoccurring in the signature that they use on their own victims. Following now is a clip of Jeffrey Dahmer's signature explained. If you have an aversion to gory things, then I would suggest looking away.
And filled it with a powerful acid to dissolve the dismembered limbs and torsos. After weeks in the acid, the remains of Dahmer's would-be lovers became sludge, which he flushed down the toilet or the bathtub drain. For others, Jeffrey boiled the skin off their bones on the stove. A sweet, bitter odor of death began to infest the building, and many tenants traced the smells straight to Dahmer's door. Still living victims, Dahmer used a power drill to open small holes in their skulls. Then he injected acid into their brains. According to Dahmer, none of his experimental zombies lived longer than a day. And in perhaps the ultimate effort to keep his victims with him, Dahmer began eating their flesh.
Now, last but not least, the profile is able to be delivered through the criminal investigative analysis method, because the organization, the signature, the MO have all been accumulated into this one profile where a serial killer can be tracked down to. Now the following clip will demonstrate an actual profile being delivered in order to catch a serial killer. Although this is fictional, this is about the equivalent of what it actually is in the Federal Bureau of Investigation when using the criminal investigative analysis method in order to profile a serial criminal.
Hey there. Are you all right?
This kid is streetwise, but clearly comfortable and easily accepted in the middle class suburban.
We can't diagnose anyone under the age of 18 as antisocial, so we are labeling this unsub a budding psychopath.
Came out of the bathroom, and the bus was gone.
A bus stopped out here?
Well, yeah, this woman was sick, and she said she needed some air.
Where's your mom, hon?
Well, we live in Omaha, but my mom's visiting my aunt in Chicago.
His interpersonal skills are through the roof.
Now, this manipulation is not just a ruse, it is a complex con.
I knew I shouldn't have gotten off.
Well, maybe I should just call your mom for you. Does she have a cell phone?
Yeah, my phone's on the bus. I was supposed to memorize the numbers, but I never did. If I don't get off the bus in Chicago tomorrow morning, my mom will freak out.
Look for reports of missing children in and around the city of Omaha. This is where his killing spree originated.
And check juvenile detention centers and psychiatric programs for boys who've been recently released or escaped.
We believe he's crossed the state line into Iowa. His last victim was traveling northeast on Route 6.
How's a kid gotten 40-some miles all by himself?
They all give him rides and places to stay.
Well, you can't stay out here all alone. We'll go to the police. They can find your mom a lot faster than we can.
Really?
Yeah, come on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
He appears extremely vulnerable. Being a child, alone, out on the road, that's not hard to do.